Here we go. 11.6. So we are doing surface area and volume of a sphere. A sphere is a three-dimensional circle, right? Take a circle, make it three-dimensional, you have a sphere, okay? So with a sphere, your diameter has to cut through the center of the circle, which maybe seems like a no-brainer, but if you were to draw something here, okay, that's not a diameter. It has to go through the center of the circle. You have with a sphere what's called a great circle, and the great circle is what's going to cut your sphere into two equal hemispheres, so two equal halves, all right? So two equal hemispheres. All right, so here's what I want you to think about. Any baseball players, softball players in the room? Okay, if you took a baseball or a softball, okay, and you pulled out all the seams and opened it up, this is what you would see, right? You would see this is the one piece that's, right, if you just follow those around, that would be one, and then the other would be this, okay? Well, if you look at that, it looks kind of like you have 4 circles, right? Now there's a little bit of extra and it's not perfect circles, but the idea is it's as if you have 4 perfect circles put together when you're trying to figure out the surface area, okay? So that's how they do surface area of a sphere, is it's 4 circles, pi r squareds, right? Pi r squared is the area of a circle. There are 4 of them. So the surface area of a sphere is 4 pi r squared, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to find the surface area. We're going to leave it in terms of pi, right? Majority of the time we just leave things in terms of pi. So look at this picture. You have a radius or a diameter given to you? A diameter. So if my diameter is 8, then what's my radius? 4. So your surface area is going to be 4 times pi times 4 squared. Now, what are you going to plug into your calculator right now?
That.
Not that. 4 squared times 4. Leave the pi out of it, okay? You're going to do 4 times 4 squared, okay? Type in 4 times 4 squared. What do you get? 64. Then you can drop the pi in. And then it's area. So what is it? Meters squared. Okay, surface area of a sphere is 64 pi meters squared. Yes, ma'am.
If there's a real world problem, you would plug in.
If we were trying to find like how much material you needed to make a ball of some sort, you would plug it in. Yeah, but this one says in terms of pi. So whenever it says in terms of pi, you'll leave the pi in there. Questions on that? Okay, then this next problem is the one where you really have to just understand how a calculator works and the different pieces and how we plug things in. And as long as you do, this is not a terrible problem. Here's what it says. Earth's equator is about 24,902 miles long. Okay, so we're talking Earth here. The equator is about 24,902 miles long. Approximate the surface area of Earth by finding the surface area of a sphere with a circumference of 24,902, right? The equator would be the circumference of our great circle. Does that make sense? Okay. So Earth is not a sphere, right? Earth is a what? None of you have done this in science yet? Oh, every year when I talk about this, people are like, it's not a sphere, it's a...
Oh, it's a square.
No, a square. The Earth is flat. We're not going into that right now. Have none of you heard oblate spheroid?
What is that?
For real?
We didn't learn that.
Oh my goodness. What's going on in the science world these days? Your science. Like normally all my students are like, it's an oblate spheroid. I don't know which class it came from, but they always tell me.
Maybe.
What would that be?
Probably integrated because bio was study of life. I don't know how that.
Why we do absolutely nothing?
Huh. I'm curious. I'm gonna have to ask the science teachers.
Maybe it was integrated because they were just studying about the stars and stuff. So like that.
Could be. I don't know. Okay, anyway. Never mind. The Earth is not a sphere. Did you know that? It's an oblong spheroid.
What does that mean?
So what did you just?
Not a perfect sphere.
What did you just?
Wait, so we're
It's a little bit elongated.
What did you just cut it in half?
Well, so here's what we have to figure out, right? If we're looking for the surface area of Earth, what is our missing piece of information that we need?
the diameter.
Radius?
The radius, right? The surface area formula is 4 times pi times the radius squared. Well, we don't know the radius. What do we know? The circumference. Okay, so circumference is either pi d or 2 times pi times r. Which one makes sense if we're trying to solve for a radius? 2 pi r makes more sense. You could find the diameter and then just cut it in half. That's fine too. But I know the circumference, 24,902, and I know the formula for circumference, 2 pi r, right? So I can solve for my radius by just setting this equal to 2 pi r. Here's where you have to work well with your calculator. What do I have to do to isolate r? Divide by 2 pi. Okay, now here's the deal. When you divide by 2 pi, if you plug into your calculator 24,902 divided by 2 pi, your calculator thinks you're doing 24,902 divided by 2 and then taking that whole thing times pi, which you're not, okay? So here's what you have to make sure of. Parentheses, okay? Put those parentheses in there and plug that in right now and tell me what you get.
3,906.
That's the one. Yep. So you should be getting this 3,963.2764. Okay. If you're not getting that, you're plugging it in wrong. Okay. If you plug this in exactly how you see it right here with the parentheses, you should get 3,963. Okay. So now if the question is find the surface area, all you have to do is say, I know surface area equals 4 times pi times that number, 3,963.2764 squared, right? 4 times pi times the radius squared. At this point, you can just plug it in how you see it. Type in 4 pi times 3,963.2764, hit your squared button, and you should get a surface area of, I didn't tell you where to round, did I? No. So your surface area would be 197387018.2. So if we wanted to round it to a nice number, we'll just say we're gonna do to the nearest 100,000. That would be 197,400,000 square miles. That's the surface area of Earth. That makes sense? Yeah, Whitney.
Why did you round to the 4th spot? Or
Just for no specific reason. I just picked a spot. Yeah, if I told you here round to the nearest 100,000, you don't even have to round. You could, yeah, but your nearest 100,000 wouldn't have changed from that, so. Questions on that? Okay, example 3, again, just plugging things in nicely into a calculator comes in very handy. Here's the volume formula for a sphere. Okay, it is 4/3 times pi r cubed. And here's the other place that a lot of people make mistakes on this one is you're so used to doing pi r squared that people square the radius instead of cubing it, but it's volume. So remember when we're finding volume, we want to cube things. So skube it. I meant cube it, okay? So if you're trying to find the volume here, 4/3 times pi, what's r? 6 to the 3rd power. Okay, now tell me what you're gonna plug into your calculator right now. Yes, you're gonna plug in 4 divided by 3 times 6 to the 3rd power. Don't plug in the pi. And you get 4 divided by 3 times 6 to the 3rd is 288. Plug that in and make sure that's what you're getting. Attach your pi. And then it's volume. So what are your units? Volume. Centimeters cubed. Julia, did you have a question?
Where is to the 3rd power on the calculator?
So you have to use the little caret. If you're doing a 3rd power, you're gonna go like this and then the number 3. It's on the right side, I think, of your calculator. I don't have that one sitting in front of me. Oh, it's on the left. My bad. Yep. Yeah, sorry, it's on the far left.
I did it and it says syntax error.
Did you do 4 divided by 3 times 6 to the 3rd?
Parentheses around it.
You shouldn't have to put parentheses.